In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to use Wwise to create audio in Stingray. Alright, so Stingray comes with the incredible application called Wwise. Wwise is an audio creation tool, and it's very, very powerful. So if you get Stingray, you get Wwise along with it. So to begin working with Wwise, we need to first go up to File, Create New Wwise Project. Now you may get a message that looks just like this, and you probably will if you use one of the templates. And it's going to say it's not going to create it because it already exists. Now if you don't have a Wwise project and you don't get this message, you'll probably get something that says, do you want to create one? And you'll want to create that in the same folder as your project. So in our case, it's going to be under Project Files, Stingray Files, and then you'll see Quick Start, Stingray, Wwise. Alright, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and open Wwise. So let's go up to Window, and you'll see External Apps, and then Wwise Audio. Now Wwise Audio is a very, very incredible tool because it allows us to create great audio for games. The reason that it's so great is because it's set up in a way that it has events, and we can call those events from our sound banks that we create, and it keeps things nice and contained, and it's got lots of cool features. So let me go ahead and just give you a taste of what some of those features are while showing you how to create audio for your Stingray projects. Now Wwise is a very deep program, and there are lots and lots of different sections, and we're not going to dive really deep. We're just going to scratch the surface just to get you up and going with audio in Stingray. So the first thing that you'll need to do is you'll need to import the audio. So under your Project Explorer, you'll have your Audio tab. What I want you to do is I want you to expand the default work unit, and you'll see that you have Music, Sound Effects, and VO. These are already created for you with the Stingray projects. So let's go ahead and expand Sound Effects, and let's select Sound Effects. Now what I want to do is I want to right click, and I want to import audio files. Here you'll have the audio file importer, and we're going to say Add Files, and you'll want to navigate to your Assets folder, Audio, and Sound Effects. Now for me, I just want to select just a couple of sound effects, so we're going to go to Combat Punch 1, 2, and 3, and I'm holding down Control to do that. And then we'll also select Sound Effects Pickup Health Globe _01. With that, hit Open, and it will bring you back to the audio file importer. You'll say Import. If you've already imported those, you may want to replace them or overwrite them. I'm okay with that. I'm just going to simply hit Import. So now you'll see all of these files in the sound effects section of this, and now what we want to do is we want to set up maybe some containers, or we want to tie those to events. So I'm going to show you how to create a container. Containers are really, really cool. So let's take a look at our punches. We have punch 1, 2, and 3. And in a game, let's say that we're just spamming the X button and we're punching as fast as we can go. If we have the exact same sound that comes out of that punch, it can get really annoying. And with sound, that's not something that we want to do. So let's use what's called a random container, because what we could do is we can put in multiple audio files and it will play them randomly whenever the event is called. So let's go ahead and select Sound Effects and come right up here and create New Random Container. Let's give it a name. Let's call this CF for catfoo _ punches _ random. Then what you'll do is you'll select the audio files that you want to put or contain in that container. Left click and drag those into CF _ punches _ random. If you expand that, you'll see that those audio files are now contained inside of that container. Alright, so now that we have done that, let's create our events. So you import events, and then you import audio files, and then you create events. So let's go ahead and select the CF punches _ random, and let's go to current selection under the event viewer. You'll see here that the container is selected and there are no events in that container. So what we'll do is we'll right click and we'll say New Event, and we're going to just simply play that sound. Now there are lots of events that you could go through, but we don't want to get into Wwise too deeply. The first thing that you'll do whenever you have this new event dialog box come up, you'll want to tell it where to save this event. Go ahead and expand the default work unit and select the SFX folder for sound effects. Then you'll give this event a name. So I'm going to call this SFX underscore CF underscore punches. If you wanted to, you could also do underscore event just to make things a little bit more helpful. And you could see that very quickly and you would know that that is an event. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So let's hit OK. And you'll see that the event is here and we can now begin editing that event. But you'll notice that it's missing the objects. So what do? How do we get objects in that? It's very simple. Go over to your audio tab and let's select the random container. Let's left click and drag that onto the objects here. And so now you'll see that CF underscore punches underscore random is now in that event. So anytime that SFX underscore catfoo underscore punches underscore event is called, it will play the sound effects that are inside of that container. Now if you want to preview what's inside of that container, come down here to the bottom and just hit the play button. Go ahead and hit it a couple of times. So you can see that it's making those punch sounds and they're a little bit different. So you can see that it is working, creating that randomness. Let's go ahead and create one more event. Let's go up to the top here under the audio in the Project Explorer and let's select the Health Globe sound effect. Let's right click under the current selection and let's create a new event, and we want to create a play event. Let's tell it to be in the sound effects folder. And here you can see that we have our event that we just created and it's now contained inside of that sound effects folder. Let's give this a new name and let's call it SFX underscore health underscore pickup underscore event. There we go. So now we need to drag that audio file into that event under the event editor. And with that, you can now see that there is an event contained inside of that. And you could go ahead and hit play and preview that sound. You might want to turn your volume down just a little bit. This might blow out your ears, and I want to warn you just before I hit play. So maybe that wasn't too loud there, but you can see that the audio is playing and working as it should. So now what we need to do is we need to generate our sound bank that's going to contain these events. So we'll go up to Layouts, and we're going to go to Sound Bank. Now inside of Sound Bank, you'll see that we have our default work unit, and you see that the name of that sound bank is going to be called Default. You can change its name here if you wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as default. We're just showing you as an example. So you'll notice that Generate is not available. To make that available, you need to select a platform. In this case, we're going to choose Windows, and then you'll also need to choose a language. You'll now see that Generate is available. Now, what it's going to generate is going to be anything that has been added to music, sound effects, or VO. If you don't want to add anything there, if you don't want to generate the music, you can uncheck Event, Structures, and Media. Same thing for VO. But we do have new things in the sound effects. Now, it's not going to affect anything if you don't have anything in it and you choose to generate there anyway. So I'm going to leave everything just the way it is. So all we need to do now is simply hit Generate, and you'll see that it goes through and it gives us a couple of messages, and it says everything was created and no errors or fatal errors. Let's close this down, and let's go ahead and save the project. So once that has been saved, let's minimize it, and let's bring up Stingray. Now inside of Stingray, we can take a look at our content folder, and you'll look in audio, and you'll see that default sound bank is now there. You'll also see the two sound events that you have. You have your punches, and if you hit play, you should hear something. But as you can see here, it's giving me a little bit of a warning. So something is wrong. Let's hit F5 to just refresh and see if we can get this to compile. Go ahead and hit play, and now you should hear that audio file. Alright, now there might be one more thing that you'll have to do. If you go to your Quick Start Stingray, go to your boot folder, our boot package, and we need to add just a couple of lines of code. I'm going to go down here to around line 33, and I'm going to hit Control V. I already have this copied, but you can see the files that you need to, or the lines of code that you need to type in here. So type those in and just simply hit save, and that should remove any issues if you have that. So let's hit F5 to refresh. Everything has compiled, there's no errors. Let's go back to content and audio and our sound bank, and if we hit play, we shouldn't be getting any warnings at the bottom whenever we play these now. So now how do we get those sound events hooked up inside of Stingray? Well, let's go ahead and hook up Cat Fu to where whenever he picks up the health pickup, it sounds the audio, and we've accessed the sound bank. Very easy to do. Let's go ahead and go to our unit editor, and we're under Cat Fu, and here is where we have it triggering when he touches the tuna can, and if that's true, it unspawns the unit. Now before it unspawns the unit, I want it to go ahead and play that sound. So let's go ahead and right click, and let's add an audio node, and we're using the Wwise audio nodes, and we're going to go to trigger event. So under this, let's go ahead and add it to our group. I'm going to left click and drag this onto pickup health, and you'll see that it is now part of this group. Let's drag this in here, and I need to get the name of the event that I want to call. So in this case, I want it to be sfx underscore health underscore pickup underscore event. Alright, so you can see that it's named there. Spell it exactly that way. Everything is lowercase and then no spaces, only underscores. Then we need to tell it what unit to play on. In this case, it's going to be my unit, which is going to be Cat Fu. And then we're going to go from the branch on its true value to in, and then we're going to go out to the unspawn. Let's get rid of that link between the branch and the unspawn. So now everything is set up, and we'll hit Control S to save our unit. Let's go into Stingray, and let's hit play. So now what we'll do is we'll come in and we'll pick up that health, and you'll see that it has played the sound as it should. Let me go ahead and hit escape and play, and let me stop talking just in case it's not coming through in the audio over me. Perfect. So now that we have that all set up, let's go ahead and move on into our next lesson.